Alright, this video is going to be my full review of the Microsoft Band 2, so stay tuned. Alright, so had a couple days to work with the Microsoft Band 2, and I can just tell you already it does have some significant improvements, including design and functionality. But first, let me just give you a couple of the technical specifications of it. The display size is slightly larger. It is now 12.8 millimeters tall. The width is pretty much the same. It's actually 1 millimeter narrower, but it is a little bit taller. Really, I haven't really noticed much difference on that though. But the design of this definitely is much cleaner and much smoother on the display. But you can see here the display is only a small piece of this, where while it's off it might appear this whole thing is the display. It is only a smaller screen inside there. But that's not a complaint, that's just showing you how it may differ. It's got all the same sensors that the Microsoft Band had, but it also has a barometer, which lets it detect elevation changes. So you'll see here it has a setting for floors. And this does actually work. I haven't climbed up any steps today, but it will actually keep track of approximately how many floors you've climbed, which is kind of cool. It also has, the heart rate sensor, the accelerometer, gyrometer, GPS, light sensor, UV sensor, skin temperature sensor, capacitive sensor, and galvic skin sensor that the Microsoft One also had. It does have a microphone to detect your voice. For voice activation, but that stuff only will work with the with a Windows phone. If you're using Android or iPhone, you'll still get a lot of the basic functionality, but you won't get the voice integration because that works through Cortana. Okay, you can see there, I just actually got a email notification. So this allows you can swipe to the right on it and dismiss it, or if you hit the action button, it would actually kind of It basically gives you like a reading view of the email, which is basically it shows you one word at a time and it advances through it. I don't really find it too helpful, but you can always at any point go back to your emails and you can tap on the email once to get kind of a fuller view of the email. So then you can go through and read it here. Or if you hit this little action button here, it will go through and read it in a larger font. Which I guess is helpful if you have a hard time reading the smaller fonts. This gives you a quick way to kind of skim through the email. And there are ways in settings, if you in the settings, that you can change how fast that reads through. The battery has now been moved on the Microsoft Band 2 to the back, where in the previous model it was on the sides. I like this design actually a lot better. It makes the band a lot more flexible, a lot more comfortable. Although you do still feel this push on the back of your wrist, and you can see here these two sensors do stick down just a little bit, and you can see here on my wrist, this is after sleeping with it, so keep that in mind. This isn't regular use, this is actually after sleeping with it, and so you can see where the sensors have pushed in a little bit. But it's nothing I would necessarily complain too much about. This doesn't necessarily happen just wearing it regularly on a day-to-day basis because you're not, your arms are resting. This isn't from the weight of the device. This is from sleeping on it with your body pushing down. So it's just something to note. If you are going to use it for sleep tracking, it may get annoying to do it every single night. All right, it is. The battery does get me through a full day, no issues. What I've been doing is basically charging it in the evenings because I'm pretty much just sitting down on the couch anyways. So I charge it for 2 to 3 hours in the evening. That gets me to 100%. Then when I go to bed, I put it on and use it to track my sleep. And then I use it throughout the entire day and again charge it again that night. It does say it gets 48 hours battery. I would say you could definitely get 48 hours battery out of it if you make sure all the settings, make sure the GPS is turned off, and make sure the display is turned off unless you turn it on. Right now I have it on a cool little new mode that actually turns it on when you look at it, or like when you shift it to look at. The website does say it gets a full charge in less than 1.5 hours. I haven't actually timed how long that full charge takes, but I wouldn't necessarily say that's not true, because I like I said, I've let it sit for about maybe 2.5 hours, come in as 100%, so I'm sure it can charge in less time than when I'm charging it in. So the new charging port is right here, and the new charger, if you watch my unboxing, I kind of had some complaints about how you can magnetically stick it on there and it's actually not attached to anything. There are two kind of the two release points on the side of it here match up to the 2 points here on the charger. So it does take a couple times to kind of get the feel for how it should go in there. It's not quite as smooth as maybe it would look, but you definitely know when it's secured in there, because you can see how well it just attaches. And once it's in there, it's pretty strong. I mean, unlike the first band, if you held it like this by the charger, the watch would just fall off. So I like that this is much stronger. Avoids it accidentally coming loose overnight. I have cats and they like to play with stuff, and so this avoids them. If they paw it around, the charger's going to still be attached and I'm still going to have a full charge on it. And you can also tell it's charging because here you get the little icon. Well, this isn't actually plugged in, but you would get a little charging icon here on the battery. Alright, so we'll go ahead and put it back on, and I'll go over a couple of the new features on it. This new clasp, I do like it. It's definitely much stronger. It's got a nice metal finish on it here. Feels much stronger. Doesn't feel cheap. It holds it in there real strong. So I like the design. The new design definitely is all improvements for me. Some people complain about this scratching after a couple days. Maybe that's true, but honestly, I'd expect this device to get scratched. I mean, it's on your wrist. It's not, it's a fitness band, especially if you're wearing it to sleep. It's probably going to get some abuse. The main screen here is now made out of a protective glass. I believe it's Gorilla Glass. So it's scratch resistant. It's extremely smooth, so you may not need a screen protector like you did on the Band 1. On the Band 1, if you didn't have a screen protector, it was going to be scratched up in a couple weeks. This one I have not gotten any scratches on so far, but I am probably still going to order a screen protector for it, just to have that extra layer of protection. Everything is, if you've used a band before, it has all the same features. You can do text messaging, and you can reply to those text messages using a keyboard, Cortana, or pre-done replies. Now, if you have an Android or an iPhone, I believe you can only do these pre-done replies. The keyboard and the Cortana functionality only work on a Windows phone. So the keyboard functionality is pretty cool. You get this little keyboard, which is actually more accurate than you would think. This is a test. Let's see if I got it. This is a test. So the keyboard is actually really accurate. But again, that's only a Windows Phone feature. You can check and read your emails. You cannot reply to emails, but you can check and read them here. If you do have a Windows Phone, though, you can always use Cortana to do all those some of those integrations. A little Cortana app, phone for missed phone calls, your calendar, exercises, so you can start a run. There are also tiles you can pin for biking, golfing, and just regular exercise to track all those workouts. And all those workouts are sent to the app on your phone, as well as to the Microsoft Health website, so you can view that data later. Sleep, it allows you to track your sleep, but you can also now set an alarm. The alarm, I think, is fine, but I wouldn't necessarily. If you're a heavy sleeper, this may not be enough to wake you up. What the alarm will do is basically vibrate this device on your wrist. And then this is a brand new feature as well, a smart alarm. What this will do is look at your sleeping habits and kind of where your body's at in sleep, and it will try to wake you up earlier if it feels you're actually ready to wake up earlier. So let's say you have your alarm set for 7, but at 6:45, you're rolling in your sleep, and the watch detects that your heart rate's coming up already. It may try to wake you up at that point, so that it doesn't wake you up out of a deeper sleep. So that's kind of cool. Now, I don't know how well that works. I mean, I've tried it, but I couldn't necessarily tell you a difference. But maybe after a couple weeks, maybe I'll start to notice the difference. You can set a quick reminder, which is good. Just hey, remind me at this time. A quick timer access to, and a stopwatch. So some cool little basic watch features that I think are really neat, and they're really easy to set using this interface. And you have weather, gives you your weather forecast, and then you have social integrations for social notifications, so you can read through those. This is the UV sensor, which now the UV sensor is on the back of the watch. So when you want to get a reading, you have to hit the action button, and then it says, flip your watch over, and that way it can take a reading, and then it'll vibrate once it has the reading done, and tell you what the UV level is. Now what's cool on this one too, unlike the first band, is you can now also have a UV reminder on, and this is something I thought was, it was cool that it could detect, the UV, but it would tell you how long until a possible sunburn, but it wouldn't really alert you to that. So this is supposed to remind you that after so long exposed to UV, that hey, you should either get out of the sun or put sunscreen on or something like that. Here we have what's new. This is a really cool app because it kind of gives you a summary of new stuff you can do as it comes along. So this is telling you here how you can use it to control music on your phone. So we do that, and then if I start music on my phone, I can control whether it's played, paused, and stuff like that. You can also raise or lower the volume by swiping like this, which will raise the volume up and down. To exit this mode, you just double tap on the power button again. That'll bring you back. Activity reminder. This is good. This allows you to set. Where is it at? Oh, it's in settings. You can turn the activity reminder on and have it remind you if you've been inactive for a certain amount of time. So for me, I have a desk job, and I do like to try to get up and walk around every hour, but sometimes I forget about this. So this will actually keep track of that and remind you every so often, like, hey, you should get up and do something. So that's a cool feature. I definitely like that. And you can set when you want those alerts between, because obviously you don't want those alerts coming to your watch during the night, or probably during the evening when you're just relaxing. And you can also say, only notify me on weekdays or weekends, stuff like that. Of course, this is also a fitness band, so it does do the basic fitness tracking. So if you just tap on the main screen here, it will give you your total steps for the day, how many miles you traveled, your calorie burn, how many floors you've climbed, and your heart rate. And in the Band 2, the heart rate does seem to acquire the heart rate a little faster. So there we go, we have a locked-in heart rate. And the sensor for that is now right behind the watch here. So it's this little sensor right there. So it does seem to be a little more responsive, and I believe they've stated it's supposed to be 20% more accurate as well. So in the app then it'll show you, you can go and view all your history. So this is today, or your most recent run or most recent sleep. But you can tap on any one of these and get more detail and history on it. But let me go into one of these, like the run here. So here it's got a map out of my run. And you can view this right on a map. And here's a map out of the run, and it kind of gives you information on that. And then it'll keep track of the duration, your calories burned, all those settings there. So the app basically collects all that data, and then there's also a website you can go to get all this information from as well. So as far as a fitness tracker, the Microsoft Band is going to be just as good as any fitness tracker out there, as far as I can tell. What I really like about it is that it also has some smartwatch capabilities to it. So it may be a little more expensive than a Fitbit, but that's because you're getting so many more sensors and so much more functionality built into the band itself. It's not just a chip that communicates back to a phone. You actually have an interface here that you can interact with, that can interact with things on your phone as well. Alright, and we'll just go through settings here real quick. You do have the Do Not Disturb, which will basically turn off the notifications. Watch mode. So this is the mode I have turned on now, which is rotate. You can also turn the watch off or have it always on. Always on will reduce your battery though. And then if you hit rotate, it'll ask you how you wear your band. So which arm, and is it inside your wrist, are you wearing it on the inside or on the outside? So I'm on the left hand, and it's on the inside of my wrist. And what that does is allows for, let's get out of here. It will eventually turn off. So here, I'll turn it off here. Oops. So it's turned off, and then it detects that movement and turns the watch, just the watch on. So then if you actually want to use it, you do have to tap it again to actually, or hit the power button here to actually get the screen on. So we'll go back through, I think, airplane mode, Bluetooth, additional settings for brightness, the haptic levels, which is the feedback, the vibrating feedback. So you can turn that up if it's not high enough. Your language, the reading speed, this is how fast it reads through the stuff in the larger letters on the screen. Information, and then power if you need to turn it off or if you need to wipe the device and return it back to factory conditions. So overall, I think the Microsoft Band 2 is a great improvement from the Microsoft Band 1. If you don't have one already, this is a great time to get one. If you already have one, I would look more of how is the current one working for you. My Microsoft Band 1 was, falling apart. Cosmetically it was coming off. There was all sorts of issues all over it, from heavy wear and just some of the design in the first band could have been improved. And I was also having issues with Bluetooth connectivity, which I thought maybe was my phone. But even though I wiped this, but as soon as I got the Microsoft Band 2, those issues went away. So I was having some issues with the first one, so that's why I got the second one. But I've been pleasantly surprised with the new features, and I think it was definitely well worth it. You might even be able to find the Microsoft Band 2 on sale for about $200. I'll try to put some links in the description if you're watching this video right away. But it is $250 normally, but keep your eyes out. It may go on sale again for $200, which was the price of the original Microsoft Band, which I thought was a good price point for this device. So thank you for watching my review of the Microsoft Band 2. If there's anything I missed, or if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer those for you. Otherwise, thank you once again for watching.